Welcome to this edition of News Today, a series where we briefly discuss and analyze important news of the day. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. Supreme Court calls for stricter approach in granting bail to police in custodial death cases. International Finance Corporation released Green and Social Bond Impact Report 2023. IRENA releases a World Energy Transitions Outlook brief tracking COP28 Outcomes Report. United Nations Environment Programme launched Food Waste Index Report 2024. UNESCO endorsed the addition of 18 new geoparks to the global geoparks network. The External Affairs Minister of India visited Malaysia. Let us start with the first news for the day. Supreme Court calls for stricter approach in granting bail to police in custodial death cases. While referring to its judgment of State of Jharkhand versus Sandeep Kumar, the Supreme Court made an exception and invoked the Article 136 to set aside bail granted to a police officer by a High Court in a case of custodial death. Article 136 gives discretionary power to the Supreme Court to grant special leave to appeal from any judgment or order made by any court or tribunal in India. It is not applied to orders passed by any court or tribunal constituted by any law relating to the armed forces. Talking about custodial death, it is a manifestation of custodial violence which primarily refers to violence including rape and torture in police custody and the judicial custody. Safeguard against the custodial death include Constitutional, Article 14 that is right to equality before law and Article 21 that is right to life. In legal terms, Section 330 and 331 of IPC provides punishment for injury inflicted for extorting confession during custody. Section 176 of CRPC calls for magisterial inquiry in the case of custodial death. It also includes International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in which India is signatory. DK Basu versus State of West Bengal, for which the Supreme Court gave specific guidelines for safeguarding of detainees. And lastly, the NHRC guidelines calls for reporting of custodial death or rape within 24 hours of occurrence. Few challenges are also being faced in curbing custodial death. Those are non-ratification of UN Convention Against Torture 1997, absence of a national level anti-torture framework, lengthy judicial proceedings, and lastly, tremendous pressure on the police to detect cases whenever there is a surge in crime and particularly heinous ones. In another news, International Finance Corporation released Green and Social Bond Impact Report 2023. The International Finance Corporation launched Green Bond Program in 2010 to unlock investment for private sector eligible projects that seek to mitigate climate change and Social Bond Program in 2017. Before we begin, let us first understand about what is the International Finance Corporation. Headquartered in Washington, D.C., USA, it was established in 1956. It is a member of World Bank Group and largest global development institution focused on private sector in developing countries. Coming back, now let us have a look at its key highlights. $2 billion raised through Green Bond is expected to reduce 3.3 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents per year. Moreover, the 1.2 billion raised through social bonds will cater sectors like agribusiness, gender finance, and education. Talking about green bonds, they are the debt securities designated to finance the environment-friendly projects like sustainable water and waste management, green buildings, pollution control, and more. In 2022, the Ministry of Finance approved India's first sovereign green bonds framework, which excludes projects like nuclear power generation, landfill projects, and hydropower plants larger than 25 megawatt. Moreover, India's first green bond was issued by Yes Bank Limited in 2015. Additionally, in 2023, India issued the first tranche of its first SGBs worth Rs 80 billion. Further moving on to social bonds. They are the financial instrument issued by governments and corporations to raise funds for projects to address the social issues like affordable housing, healthcare, and more to benefit vulnerable populations. In 2023, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development raised more than Rs 1,000 crore via social bonds. Moving on to the next news. IRENA releases a World Energy Transitions Outlook brief tracking COP28 Outcomes Report. The report tracks global progress towards the energy transition commitment to triple renewables by 2030 as outlined in COP28 of UNFCCC held in November 2023. Let us first have a look at its key findings. Benchmark yet insufficient progress. 2023 added 473 gigawatts, which was 73% contributed by solar energy, additionally renewable to global energy mix. However, the annual addition must reach almost 1100 gigawatts to meet the tripling target. If we talk about the geographical disparities, with a growth of 20.1%, Asia was leader in renewable deployment and its growth was driven by China. In terms of progress in electrification, road transport has reported the highest potential for electrification. New electronic vehicle models, financial incentives, and improving charging infrastructure are key drivers for this. Some challenges are also being faced in achieving the tripling target. Rising financial costs and the supply chain issues like bottlenecks for some technologies and market oversupply in others acts as a challenge. Few recommendations have also been provided to achieve tripling target. Reforming multilateral finance mechanism, supporting infrastructure, for example, power grids, storage, and more. Robust policy frameworks, and lastly, international cooperation for developing the renewable supply chain, enhancing institutional and human capacity, and scaling up and broadening access to low-cost finance. Moving on, now let us get to know about the International Renewable Energy Agency or IRENA. It is headquartered in Abu Dhabi, UAE. It came into existence when proposal for an international agency dedicated to renewable energy was made in 1981 at the UN Conference on New and Renewable Source of Energy held in Nairobi, Kenya. IRENA was founded in Bonn, Germany in 2009 with 75 states signing the IRENA Statute at the time. It is a leading global intergovernmental agency for energy transformation. It serves as the principal platform for international cooperation, supports countries in their energy transitions, and provides state-of-the-art data and analyses on technology and more. It has 168 countries and the EU as member, India being one of them. Major reports by IRENA includes the World Energy Transition Outlook, Renewable Energy Outlook for ASEAN, and Renewable Energy for Agriculture. In another news, United Nations Environment Programme launched Food Waste Index Report 2024. Report co-authored with Waste and Resources Action Programme or RAP was published ahead of International Day of Zero Waste observed annually on 30th March. Before we start, let us first get to know about the Waste and Resources Action Programme. It is a climate action NGO which was established in United Kingdom in 2000, working to tackle causes of climate crisis and give the planet a sustainable future. This program has presented suggestions for reducing food waste through collaborative approach, systemic action through public-private partnerships, model like Court Commitment 2030 and Australian Food Pact, establishing a roadmap or delivery plan, targeting priority areas or hotspots of waste. Coming back, let us have a look at the Food Waste Index Report. FWI tracks global and national generation of food and inedible parts wasted at retail and consumer, household and food service levels. It supports the goals of two indicators of SDG 12.3, which is to be achieved by 2030. That is, SDG 12.3.1a, Food Loss Index reduce food losses along production and supply chains, including the post-harvest losses. Food and Agriculture Organization is custodian of FLI. SDG 12.3.1b, FWI half per capita global food waste at retail and consumer levels. UNEP is custodian of FWI. Further, let us get to know about its key findings. Households across all continents wasted over 1 billion meals a day in 2022, while 783 million people were affected by hunger and a third of humanity faced food insecurity. Moreover, food waste generates an estimated 8 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Few issues found in the report includes hotter countries generate more food waste per capita in households due to lack of robust cold chains, insufficient data for retail and food service sectors, particularly in low and middle income countries, and lastly, issues in the fragmented food system. In our next news, UNESCO endorsed the addition of 18 new geoparks to the global Geoparks network. The latest addition raised the number of total geoparks to 213, which are spread across 48 countries, though currently there are no geoparks in India. Before we begin, let us first get to know about the Global Geoparks Network. It is a non-profit international association officially established in 2014. The Global Geoparks Network was founded as an international partnership developed under the umbrella of UNESCO. Networking and collaboration among global geoparks is an important component of the Global Geoparks Network. Coming back, now let us have a look at some major geoparks added to GGN. Land of extinct volcanoes in Poland. It features distinctive remnants of Paleozoic and Cenozoic volcanoes. Impact Crater Lake in Finland. It is Europe's largest impact crater lake, formed through a collision with a meteoroid 78 million years ago. Uberaba in Brazil. Its tagline Land of Giants refers to its rich paleontological heritage. Now let us get to know about the UNESCO's Global Geopark. The Geopark concept arose in the mid-1990s and UGGP was created in 2015. UGGPs are single unified geographical areas where landscapes of international geological significance are managed with the holistic concept of protection, education, and sustainable development. It is managed by a body having a legal existence recognized under the national legislation. Moreover, its designation is not permanent as it is for 4 years, after which it is reassessed. It has a mandatory networking membership of the Global Geoparks network, which is obligatory for UGGPs. Talking about its significance, the UGGPs give local people a sense of pride in their region and strengthen their identification with the area. And lastly, new sources of revenue are generated through geotourism. Moving on to the last news for the day. External Affairs Minister of India S. Jaishankar visited Malaysia. The External Affairs Minister visit was aimed at strengthening the bilateral cooperation in areas like trade, defense, culture and education and enhancing strategic partnership between the two countries. Let us first start by talking about the India-Malaysia bilateral relations. India established its diplomatic relations with Malaysia in 1957. Strategically, Malaysia is a part of India's Act East policy and also have a key partner for India in Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN. In the Defence Corporation, both countries conducted joint exercise Harimau Shakti of the Army annually, Samudra Lakshman Maritime Exercise of the Navy, Udara Shakti of the Air Force and the Royal Malaysian Navy ship participates in Exercise Milan. In terms of trade, both sides signed a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement, which is a free trade agreement. The bilateral trade touched $19.4 billion during the year 2021-22. Moreover, the trade between both countries can be settled in Indian rupee in addition to the current modes of settlement in other currencies. Also, India imports palm oil mainly from Indonesia and Malaysia. In terms of cultural relations, the Indian Cultural Center in Kuala Lumpur conducts classes in the Carnatic vocal, Kathak dance, yoga and Hindi language by trained teachers from India and Malaysia. The center was renamed as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Indian Cultural Center in the year 2015. And lastly, in terms of humanitarian assistance, more than 1 lakh Indian nationals were repatriated from Malaysia under the Vande Bharat mission during COVID-19. The personality in news for today is Tama Dora. Tama Dora was born in the Koya community. Let us have a look at his key contributions. Under his leadership, the tribal people of Malkangiri, especially the Koya tribe, rose in revolt against the unjust and oppressive policies of Raja of Koraput and the British. Moreover, he defeated the British police of Malkangiri. The Colonel McCoy of Hyderabad contingent marched with 100 men to protect but failed by severe attack of Koya army. He exhibited the values of leadership, courage and empathy. As we conclude today's main news, let's take a look at some quick updates. India-led group of friends launched a new database designed to record crimes against peacekeepers and monitor progress in holding perpetrators accountable. The GOF was launched by India in 2022 to promote accountability for crimes against the Blue Helmets during its presidency of the UN Security Council. Combined index of 8 core industries increased by 6.7% in February 2024 as compared to the index of February 2023. The ICI measures the combined and individual performance of production of 8 core industries. These are fertilizers, cement, natural gas, crude oil, coal, electricity, steel and petroleum refinery products. International Rice Research Institute South Asia Regional Center will develop rice varieties with low methane emissions and enhance productivity of premium quality, nutritious rice. To achieve this, ISARC is promoting adoption of best agronomic and management practices like dry seeded rice and alternate wet and brine. Harbour phase of the exercise Tiger Triumph is being conducted at Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Tiger Triumph is a bilateral, tri-service, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief amphibious exercise between India and the US. Moyar Valley, located in Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, is the only region with largest nesting colony of gyps, vultures in wild. Gyps indicus possess whitish feathers on a dark head and neck and a pale collar. They are colonial nesters and often seen in flocks. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, or CERN, has launched the White Rabbit collaboration to foster the uptake of white rabbit technology by industry. The collaboration aims to provide dedicated support and training, facilitate R&D projects in the technology. World Health Organization has launched a new CoviNet. It is a network of global laboratories with expertise in human, animal, and environmental coronavirus surveillance. It currently includes 36 laboratories from 21 countries, 3 in India, in all 6 WHO regions. Skyroot Aerospace has successfully test-fired Stage 2 of Vikram 1 space launch vehicle called Kalam 250. Stage 2 is significant because it propels satellites from dense atmosphere of Earth to deep vacuum of outer space. Vikram 1 is 3-stage, solid fuel-based rocket. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of News Today. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.